Thanks, Dan and John. I am here representing Google, but I'm not here to tell you that traditional media or offline media is dead. That's far from the case. But what I am here to talk to you about is the opportunities that traditional media does offer. So I was asked to talk about Google's search business, search engine marketing, search engine optimization. I'll focus on search engine marketing and the importance of digital media. Digital media is undeniably vital to a variety of different businesses and different sectors, including automotive, but automotive companies are often very traditional and slow to adopt. So actually that slow adoption leads to some great opportunities for you guys. So I've worked with a variety of automotive advertisers in my time at Google, and this quote here rings true. The most successful brands and dealers have discovered that the internet is no longer incremental business, it's the business. So the brands and advertisers that I've worked with that do invest time, money, and resources in digital marketing and in this space are the ones with the healthiest businesses. They're ones that are seeing year-over-year growth. They're the ones bringing in new customers, new younger customers, and most measurably, they're the ones maximizing the return on their marketing dollars and the ones that are actually able to measure the effectiveness of those marketing dollars. So in preparing for this, I looked for some good examples in the racing space and found only a few. So this indicates that it's definitely a new market for you guys. And like I said, a lot of automotive advertisers in other spaces as well. But like any new market, first movers do have a distinct advantage. So I think the eRace is actually a very insightful name. So we understand that at the end of the day, your goal is to drive new business, to grow your business. So I'm here to talk about how to get into the race and, as was previously said, actually win that race and some opportunities that Google provides to help you do that. So first, I'll talk a little bit about shopping for automotive products and how that's changed over the past 10 years or so. And then we'll take a step back to look at Google's mission specifically, talk about how we define and serve our customers, and a little bit about the anatomy of a search engine results page. And then I'll talk generally about some of the advantages that online advertising offers and how this can enable you to make better decisions about your marketing dollars and grow the business. And finally, I'll do a quick sort of Google 101 overview of our various other non-search advertising platforms so that hopefully everybody will be able to walk away with a better understanding of them and just know that they exist, and that any agency or marketing partner that you work with would be able to help you navigate them, and that Google and the internet is more than search. So before we talk about how to make search work for your business, we have to think about how consumer shopping has actually changed. So both consumer shopping for purchases and consumer shopping for entertainment. So a more recent Google insight that I want to talk about is called the zero moment of truth. The zero moment's changed how people shop. It's changed how people come to know your business and how they interact with it. And therefore has a huge impact on how they eventually spend their money. So we want to use the zero moment, and I'll talk about what that actually is, to inform your customers and to ensure that they actually do choose you. As was stated, there's lots of different options that people have, and you're not competing with just the people in this room, but you're competing with all sorts of other entertainment and purchase options that people have today on limited budgets. So therefore, the zero moment can have a phenomenal impact on where people eventually spend their money. And it really is the right time to start thinking about that, and that zero moment is the right time to reach people. So like I said, we want to use the moment to ensure that customers know about you, choose you, and to inform their decision making. So looking at what shopping used to look like, maybe thinking from an example of vehicle services, so say you need a transmission repair, used to be really straightforward. The process was uninterrupted and pretty direct, right? So people reacted to a stimulus. Often for vehicle service, it'd be a check engine light or service soon warning. And that stimulus drove the immediate action, and they would interact with your brand if you're a service center by just driving in or driving into your competitors, and that's where they'd get their car serviced, and that's where they'd evaluate. And after they actually make that decision, after they're actually in the shop, they have an opportunity to reevaluate the experience and decide where to go next time around. So sure, obviously that's very simplistic, oversimplified potentially. Maybe people did do some research in the past. Maybe they called a friend for a recommendation, or they called around to a few shops to get appointments or find out about pricing. But the availability of information has really changed the game, and people do expect to have that information anywhere, anytime via the internet. and primarily via search. So it's changed completely from that straight line process. Now almost everyone shopping for a service shops online or does some research before they make a decision. So 84% of people shopping for services search at least one time, so more than one time. And 48%, so almost half people search 5 times before they actually make a decision. So way different than just I see the check engine light and I go into the shop. So now the model's actually changed. This 0 moment of truth has actually been added between the stimulus. So the check engine light comes on, then someone actually goes online and does some research. It used to be that the information people find via search, to find the information that they now find via search, they would have had to have been an expert in the field already. They would have had to have friends that are experts or have big fancy repair manuals that cost a lot of money to figure out what needs to be done and where to take and where the best place to take the vehicle might be. Now people go to service centers after searching on Google or searching elsewhere, and they tell the service provider that Google told me what's wrong with my vehicle. Now, whether or not that self-diagnosis is actually correct or not is sort of unimportant. What's important is that the information has armed that consumer with the confidence and actually informed how they made that final decision. Google and the internet has changed the role that advertising plays. Advertising is no longer just an awareness building or last second decision making stimulus. It also provides intermediate information throughout the shopping process, from the moment you realize that there's a need or you have a desire to the end in the final decision. And actually, in a lot of cases, the final decision can be made and completed online. So there's a need to focus on this new 0 moment because it's the moment of research, but it's also a moment that drives the decision making, and it changes how marketers should think about how to reach potential customers and what message to put in front of them and what medium they should use. So Google's overall mission directly plays into this 0 moment. Everyone in this room is familiar with Google Search, but it helps to think of Google Search as a product, and Google Search is just one product, and to think about that product within the context of Google's mission. And I think it's a pretty bold mission, right? So Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, not just accessible to you and to me, but accessible to anyone and everyone. So as you can imagine, information that's most useful to a researcher is different than what's most useful to an advertiser, and it's different than what's useful to an online shopper. So every results page looks different, and Google Search is the primary tool for us to organize and deliver the information. And as you can imagine, the sheer volume of this information and the diversity of searchers and searches and intentions makes for a very complex system. So because the mission is to organize and deliver this information to all people, Google actually views our user, the searcher, as our customer, and our systems and our teams are designed to serve the Google user first and foremost. But that doesn't ignore advertisers or businesses such as yourselves. So I know that I'm here talking to you today and you're wearing the hat of a business owner or a marketer as opposed to a Google searcher. So we'll talk about this key distinction, and we'll have to think about our mission for advertisers differently than the mission for differently than our mission for consumers. So again, because we're talking to you as business owners and potential advertisers and not users, we're really talking about how to get your information into the hands of your potential customers in a way that's useful to those potential customers, but also useful to you. So the way that we can do that is by using information that digital media provides to identify insights that'll enable that. That'll enable you to reach your customers at the right time with the right message, and that message is communicated in the right way. So we state our goal for advertisers like yourselves differently than we would state it for the user, and we state our goal as Google's here to make the web work for you. So millions of people are engaged with our vast network on any given day, and they engage with it on their terms. And when you reach consumers at that moment, that engagement has an impact. So it's that 0 moment of truth, right? And the web and Google solutions give you, more information than any other medium in history has. So this data allows you to make informed decisions about where to invest your time and your money and your efforts. And finally, the scale of Google's technology and the variety of advertising solutions offered through Google and other digital mediums allows you to take action on the data collected and reach people at scale or in a very, very efficient and targeted way. So again, if you put it all together, it's really about Google making the web work for your business by identifying the right time, the right message, and the right way to reach out to consumers. So We'll talk primarily about search because search is the main portal through which people access information and the main medium for advertisers to deliver their information and to reach people at that zero moment. But there are many other tools that help make the web work for you, and I'll talk a little bit more about a few of them later on. But if you think about, Google's Android platform extends their search and other platforms to consumers who are on the go through mobile. And our YouTube and display advertising platforms are some of the biggest video and display advertising platforms in the world. And Google Plus provides the backbone for any consumer's search and website browsing experiences. So there are also plenty of other tools like Google Analytics and our Google Auto team, which I'm a part of, that enable some decision making and provide you with ideas and opportunities and means of measurement. So again, like I said, search is still obviously core. And it's the primary digital activity, so we'll start there. But keep in mind throughout this that people actually only spend about 3 to 5% of their time online on search, and search is really there to push people to other sites. It's not meant to keep people on search, it's meant to push people to other content throughout the web. So people are accessing search 24 hours a day, they're accessing it year-round, and they think about they think about things differently and search differently, so Google shows different results to all people. And most of the search queries that Google sees on any given day are actually brand new inventions of keywords that people have never searched on before. So that means that in order to be visible in search and to make sure that you're there at that zero moment of truth, you have to have a sophisticated and broad search strategy because search is never offline, searchers are never offline, and search is really an always-on type of advertising or marketing medium. It's not a traditional medium like print where you do an insertion every number of months, or short-lived campaigns on TV or radio or things like that. Short-lived campaigns on search won't really drive growth in your business. They might capture some existing opportunity, but searchers on keywords basically represent people who are raising their hand and saying that they're interested in what your business has to offer. So if you're not there when they're raising their hand and they're doing that search, you're missing out on that opportunity. So basically, search is more than a yellow pages. People are making decisions on search. They research more than just an address and more than just phone numbers. And they compare websites, they compare prices, they compare brands, and they form opinions. And a lot of that information is offered up on a search page. So let's take a look at the main categories of search listings just to get everybody just a background. So Google makes a clear distinction between paid and natural search and local listings. So many of you might be aware of this, but just to make sure everybody's on the same page, I wanted to highlight the difference. So natural search, also called organic search, the results are based on Google's search algorithm. You can't pay to be listed there. And it includes things like local listings and some other unique formats that you might see. Placement is never guaranteed. There are methods and agencies and partners, and your webmaster might be able to help you make sure that Google's able to identify the content on your website and match it with the proper keyword searches. But there's no guarantee, and anyone who's making a guarantee or a promise is misleading. There are also some strict rules on what tools and methods you can employ to maximize your reach via natural search. So paid search is also a good way to supplement. So paid search advertising is in fact advertising. You can choose keywords, you can choose bids to enter an auction and show ads, but much like natural search, placement is never guaranteed. Google's paid search system is called Google AdWords, and I just want to get a quick show of hands. Is anybody using AdWords right now, or is this new to everybody? Just a couple, yeah. So it's new to pretty much everybody in the room. So there are other platforms on other search networks, but Google AdWords is the way to get involved with Google. And we look at these two platforms, the AdWords paid search and the natural and organic search, as completely separate. Think of it as a separation between church and state. If you have like an ideal newspaper, the natural search results is the news department, and the paid search results is the advertising department. So, because natural search is not at all advertiser controlled and is meant to basically be providing the answer to a user query or user question with the best and most useful information, no one at Google will ever be able to help you troubleshoot or improve natural listings, but we are here to help with the paid search. So I just wanted to share just what a search engine results page looks like and how you can identify the differences between the two natural and paid results. So this is a search for, I can't see, I think it's racing parts. And as you can see, there are natural free listings located below the yellow highlighted section. So there's listings for looks like Summit Racing and JAGS and Speedway Motors. So these are free. These can be optimized via search engine optimization or SEO. And then you see a couple other listings here that are also free from Google Places and Google Maps. So there's a map results page on the top right, and there's some listings from places with addresses that are listed freely based on the actual content of the website. No one's paid for anything for these to show up. And then the ads themselves are actually labeled as ads, always labeled as ads on any Google property or any Google Display Network site. So they're labeled as ads, and they appear on the top left and on the right. And ads on the top left, on the top right are the same format. They're the same type of ad. They're just ranked differently. So anytime you create a keyword campaign, you're bidding and entering an auction. So the ones on the top left are the ones that have won the auction and ranked higher than those on the right. So it's just rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Thinking about driving traffic to your website is great, but I know the goal is to grow business. So search does drive results for all types of businesses, but if you look specifically at e-commerce businesses, we see that having a robust paid and organic strategy is really what drives the best results. So when a business only has those free listings, just the natural search and no paid, we see about a 26% increase in the likelihood of a consumer who sees that listing to purchase from that website. When you have just a paid listing, so no natural listing at all, we see a 44% increase in the likelihood to purchase from that company. And when you combine the two and you have both a paid and a natural listing showing simultaneously, we see a 73% increase in the likelihood to purchase from that website. So when you're developing a search strategy, companies should look for a balance between SEO and SEM, and the ones that are most successful utilize both to their full potential, because there's a few key reasons why SEM or SEO are not enough. So organic search is free, so you should always take advantage of getting as much visibility for free as you possibly can in your relevant categories. But paid search is, although not guaranteed, the best way to actually control the message and control which keywords and which phrases your ads are showing up on or your website listing is showing up on. Showing both paid and organic at the same time, I think, has sort of a halo effect. So consumers see that you're in both places, and they know that you're doing something right, and it lends to that trust factor. But really, the bottom line is just the stat there, right? A strategy that includes both yields the best results with a 73% increase in the likelihood to purchase. And I'll just note it's barely different, but the sum of 26 plus 44 is less than 73. So you get a combined result. So just to talk about AdWords, and I don't want to talk about it in really any detail or go into how-tos or whatnot. AdWords is meant to be a platform for paid search that's really simple to get started. All you have to do is go to google.com/AdWords, you give information about your business, your website, you enter some keywords that are related to your business, and you write some ad text, and then your ads begin to appear related to search results, related to the keywords that you choose. People click on your ads, and then they connect to your business. So that's really simple and fundamental and basic, but AdWords is actually really, really robust. It offers a lot of feature-rich opportunities, a lot of data, a lot of metrics and information, and lots of different tools to help you identify new opportunities and measure opportunities that that you've already taken advantage of, decide what's working and what's not working, target specific geographies, target specific times of day, all sorts of different things. So it is set up for anybody to be able to set up a basic account, but I'd always encourage people who are time limited to work with a partner to help them set up a real robust AdWords campaign that's combined with SEO and really working to drive the business. So, moving on, I guess every advertiser has probably had this thought or seen this quote specifically. It's the ubiquitous problem of all marketing, right? Deciding and figuring out what to do, and once you've done it, deciding and figuring out what's working and what's not. And search and digital advertising mediums are uniquely able to provide answers to those questions very, very directly in ways that traditional media never was before. So, Google has a variety of tools to help you determine what's working and what's not. You can ignore the logos here. There's a few Google products and services on the left and a few third-party partners on the right. But basically, like I said, just know that any agency partner or any marketing partner that you work with should be able to navigate these tools and use them to find opportunities that meet your needs and to measure your results. So a tool like Google Analytics will let you know who's come to your website, how long they've been there, what they've done while they were on their site, whether they made a purchase if you offer things for purchase, whether they search for a location if you're a location-based business, and it ties it all back into your paid and free SEO campaigns in ways that you can't do with magazines or with newspaper or with TV or radio or other mediums. So they not only track the performance of your digital marketing, but they also help make educated decisions on where to invest in the first place. So I can quickly go through a couple of quick, straightforward examples of insights that these tools can give us. I'll focus on the non-Google third-party tools that help us find the right message, right time, right place combination. So, for example, if you're continuing with the example of someone with a transmission problem or someone offering transmission or vehicle services, it's important to reach customers, at the right time, and there's no better time than when they raise their hand on search and say that, they're interested in what you have to offer. So a search allows them to do that. So auto repair, as you see here, is the number 2 most searched local category, second only to restaurants. And you see auto parts and supplies and auto repair are very related and both in the top 10 by volume. And then auto repair and service is actually the only category in both most searched and fastest growing searches. So it's number 10 there and growing at a rate of about 25% per year in terms of actual volume. So if you offer auto services and someone searches for transmission repair and you don't show up, you've missed that moment of relevance, the time when the potential customer is interested in what you have to offer. So we really think for auto services, local search is the right time. So, moving on to an example of an insight for like an e-commerce business, it's important to understand that people online are still people. They still have the same values that they have when they're offline, and they're in the real world. So they're price shopping. They're looking for deals and coupons. They're looking for quality service and a company that they can trust. But they're also making the decision to do that online because it's more convenient. So you see that 70% chose to shop for services online because it's more convenient. But to me, looking at, I can shop anytime, day or night, faster to shop online, past positive experiences, I didn't have to talk to salespeople. Most of those things relate back to convenience, right? I can shop anytime, day or night, is the same thing as saying it's more convenient, right? So whatever you can do to make the experience more convenient for your customers will bring them in, and online shopping offers that convenience. So we think that convenience is a pretty good message for an e-commerce business. So, and regardless of the type of business you have, whether it's e-commerce, location-based, B2B, B2C, services, you want to reach people at the right time in the right way, so you have to meet them on your terms. So part of reaching people, in the right way has to do with how the message is communicated and the medium that's used. So here we have a breakdown of how people spend their time with various types of media. So of the time spent engaging with media, looks like about over 40% of that time is spent on TV, so TV is still king. But internet is the fastest growing and is over 35%. So we'd say that 35% of the time, online ads are really the way to reach those consumers because they're spending a lot of media time there. And there's definitely some efficiencies with online media and less cost involved than there can be with TV campaigns or radio campaigns. So we really think that internet a lot of the time is the right way. And those online actions that people take, as I said, do yield real-world results. So we see that about 86% of sales, just across the board, are affected by web research. So, like I said before, I think that digital media does enable informed decision making. It enables you to, use data to reach your customers, at the right time when they're raising their hand and saying that they're interested in your product with the right message. And in a lot of cases, that message might be convenience and in the right way. So, 35% of time is spent online. So maybe think about reaching people doing that, a third of their day. So this is a somewhat crazy comment here. 1/3 of college students and young employees consider the internet to be as important as air, water, food, and shelter. it's pretty ridiculous on its face, but the shopping model has changed so much so quickly because people view information as a fundamental human resource. So access to that information is expected and taken for granted now. People have short attention spans, and if they're looking for something for their business, for a transmission service, for entertainment, for a gift, or something for themselves, and you offer it but aren't visible, they move quickly on to something else. So we'll take a look at some of the other advertising solutions that Google offers in the digital space that can enable advertisers to reach consumers, through digital media in the ways that they're actually engaging with it. So at Google, we've made a pretty big bet on mobile. We definitely agree with this comment. Mobile represents a sociological shift in how users relate both the digital and physical world, and businesses that understand this will win. So we've developed our Android platform because we think mobile devices will change the way people interact with each other and with information in as dramatic a way as desktop and the internet did 10 years ago or so. And we're already starting to see this. Information availability at your fingertips will change and has changed the expectations people have about what they'll see when they get there and the way they want to interact with the world around them. And we think this is especially important for advertisers to think about. So this shift is clearly demonstrated in unbelievably quick growth for mobile searches in all categories. But if we look at this example here, and this is vehicle parts and accessories. So vehicle parts and accessories covers performance parts, e-commerce, non-e-commerce types of businesses, all searches related to replacement parts. It encompasses it all. So we've seen twofold growth year over year and eightfold growth over the past 2 years in volume of queries on mobile devices. So I think smartphones launched 2006, 2007. So if we're already seeing 27% of performance parts searches done on mobile by the end of this year, imagine what that means for next year and for the year after, right? So 27% of performance parts searches. And performance parts, obviously it's a hobby product. It's very male skewed and maybe even a little bit skewed towards older demographics. If that demographic and that specific category has grown at this pace and is already at almost a third of searches are on mobile, imagine where your business might be. So mobile does offer a variety of opportunities, but first and foremost, it's an extension of the search platform. So search is the #1 activity that people do on their cell phones on any mobile device, just like it is on desktop. So if users have a smartphone, they're starting to behave the same way they do on desktop, right? They're searching for entertainment options. They're searching for purchases to actually make purchases on their device. They're searching locally and they're searching nationally. So with search ads for mobile, not only can you use the same systems as AdWords for desktop, but you have a few other options for the type of ad you present. So you can show, you can tell users to call your business, to go to your website. They can give them directions to your business. You can encourage them to download an application. You can even give them access to special offers that might not be available or you might not even be offering on desktop devices, just because the actual likelihood to make a sale or to drive someone to your location on mobile devices is higher than that on desktop. So we don't have time to go into here in any level of detail on some other main advertising platforms in the digital space and Google specifically. So I'll just quickly highlight a couple of them and do a bit of a speed digital Google 101 so that you guys are aware of these platforms. And again, like I said, people only spend about 3 to 5% of their time online on search. So most of the time they're actually engaging with online video or other websites, and this is the way to reach them at that zero moment of truth while they're on those platforms as opposed to on the search platform. So everybody's probably familiar with YouTube, maybe almost as familiar as they are with Google, but not everyone actually knows that YouTube is a Google property. We own YouTube, and it represents a huge portion of the online advertising that's done in the US. Online video is still growing, and it's growing rather dramatically. But it's not just for entertainment, right? It's used for educational purposes. It's already the 3rd largest site on the internet. It's Google, Facebook, and then YouTube. But it's also the 2nd largest search engine in the world. So people do use YouTube as a search engine to answer questions, get reviews, seek how-to advice, and make decisions about where they're going to spend their entertainment dollars or spend their dollars on any type of media or purchases. So there's multiple ways to leverage video and multiple ways to do it on YouTube. So again, like first and foremost, like I said, Google is the #2 search engine. People are engaging with it like a search platform, and they're looking for information. So like AdWords for search, you can create keyword targeted campaigns for YouTube and promote your video content through YouTube search. So that's the basic way people find video content is through search, and if you're choosing keywords related to your business and have video content related to that, you're really able to drive some views and some results. So you can also choose to place ads on videos, video content, or channels. You can choose static ads like you see here in the example highlighted in green there. And then, or you can choose video ads, pre-roll, post-roll, so that ads that run before the video actually plays or after the video actually plays. And you can target those ads based on the specific video that you have interest in, based on a specific category. So if you're interested in NHRA and you want to associate your products with NHRA, you can target NHRA content, the NHRA channel, or just videos related to that channel. And you can target by geography and all sorts of other different levers you can pull. And finally, you can obviously create your own channel. So promote your own video content if you have how-to, if you have racing content that's just provides entertainment value, but can build brand and have a little bit of a brand uplift. You can create your own channel, house your videos there, and promote it through search or promote it through other means. And then also people, like I said, people spend most of their time on display. So display is actually banner advertisements on other websites that aren't your own or that aren't search. So they spend most of their time there, and that's because search's main purpose is to drive them there. So we can't talk about digital marketing without mentioning display advertising. So the Google Display Network is the largest network in the world. It's got a 92.5% reach. So basically, if you want to reach anybody in the US with an internet connection, basically you can reach them on the Google Display Network and target them by vertical, by category, by site, by demographic, and all sorts of different ways with really engaging video ads, image ads, flash ads, all sorts of different things. And then finally, no one can talk about the internet these days without talking about social. So Google's social web product launched a year or two ago, and it's called Google+. Everybody's familiar with Facebook, but Google+ is fundamentally different than Facebook in a couple of different ways. So Facebook's a destination. You go to www.facebook.com and you stay there, you log in, and you're able to keep updated on information from your friends, family, businesses, and whatnot in a variety of different ways. But Google+ is not built on this standalone destination. It's part of your overall online experience and integrated throughout your web experience for all users. So everything on Google has a social component. Like Google, like Facebook, you do create a page that serves as your business's fundamental base for the social experience on Google+. You can communicate directly with your fans, with your customers, and it becomes your social hub on the Google platform. You can then integrate this Google+ page with your website by adding the Google+ button to the site, so people can actually, from your site, endorse you, and those endorsements will then appear in search, right? So here you have an example of a K&N ad linked to their Google+ page, and it says that, I have +1 this publicly. So I did this search, and it indicates that I +1 this publicly, and if I had friends in my social network who would also +1 this, I might see their names appear there. So it appears as a social endorsement, and it actually leads to greater interaction. So we see a 5 to 10% increase in the likelihood of someone to click on your ad if you have that social endorsement linked with it. So it's vital, it drives results, and like I said, it's integrated throughout the process, even in the social, or even in the local space. So here we have an example of a search for a Summit Racing store destination in Ohio, and even the result you see there is linked to a Google Plus, Places account. So it's a Summit Racing Google Plus local page here that's linked through from Maps. So, digital, not only offers these really straightforward opportunities to target people and reach them with your message and get your information in people's hands at the zero moment of truth, but it also provides unique opportunities for engaging with your consumers, right? So just to highlight a quick example, Hangouts are a feature of Google+. So if you have Google+, you can do multiple user video interactions, so many people can log in and have a video conference simultaneously, and a lot of brands and advertisers are using this to engage with their fans and engage with potential customers or press customers, answer questions, or in this case, the Coca-Cola racing team used it to speak directly with their fans and their customers to answer questions, create interest, and serve as sort of an entertaining tie-in to what they're doing in the real world. So, just to quickly recap, so the eRace has started, right? But there's a lot of opportunity to still be an early mover and get out of the gate pretty quickly. There's a lot of entrants in all spaces, but there's really time to take advantage of some of those first mover opportunities. And there are many tools to help you get going, and Google can help you, reach the right customer at the right time, wherever, whenever they're looking, whether that's search, video, browsing web content, and with the right message, they can help you identify what that message is, whether it's convenience, a brand message, couponing, and you can deliver it in the right way through digital formats, so search, local, mobile, display, video, social, and others that we haven't even heard of yet. So just a final note, Google and our digital marketing platforms can help you succeed, and they're set up to be self-managed, like I said, with AdWords, but just because anyone can start an AdWords campaign doesn't mean just anyone can really make it as effective as it possibly can be. So we'd always encourage people to work with a partner who is media savvy and can help you navigate the ever-changing space and new opportunities and new products and features that are added all the time. So the number one thing an agency partner can help you with is develop a consistent messaging and online experience. It's consistent with your offline experience, consistent throughout video, YouTube, display, search, and throughout. It can also help you navigate, like I said, the ever-changing online system. So there's lots of different tools, lots of new things all the time. And I'd also say that any agency partner should allow you to review and share all of your cost and performance metrics, again, in ways that offline media can't do. And they'd also should be able to help you develop an honest assessment of what your potential is before you even get started. So a lot of people get into a problem where they've been promised things that aren't actually possible. So just make sure that you understand that the Google systems are all auctions, placements, and things and performance are not guaranteed. So work with your partner to develop benchmarks for what your actual performance can be expected to be, and what opportunities really are out there for your business. Thanks.
See if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, any questions on any of the topics? I can barely see with the lights here.
Okay, I'll raise my hand for follow-up. Google Analytics, at one time, Google offered a help or startup for companies, and I worked with somebody who was very, very helpful. Are you guys still doing that?
You mean hands-on help from Google employees to help you get started?
Google Analytics was from Google, but
Yeah.
They helped me to do a target AdWords and specific key phrases and stuff like that.
Yeah, so most of the time, any sort of analytics or Google product is going to be self-managed, which is why we encourage an agency partner. Every once in a while, for small businesses, there are opportunities. Sales teams might reach out to you directly and be able to help you through that. We do have general AdWords support that you can call with questions at any time, but it's not typical that somebody would be able to get started in that way. Yeah, it's just because of the scale of Google and the number of advertisers we reach. If we reach millions of customers and millions of advertisers, it's just impossible for us to be able to walk everybody through that process.
Android, is that a standalone site, and does it interface with all forms of different telephone networks, different mobile networks?
Yeah, so you're familiar with like iPhones? So iPhones run on an operating system built by Apple. Android is Google's operating system. So it's like Windows for phones. It's a corollary.
So what I was asking was, does Android, if you do anything with Android, is it going to interface with iPhone?
So yeah, no, so Android and iPhones are separate, but you can target them both directly. You can choose to target your ads to iPhones, to Android devices, one or the other or both. No, you can target to both. You can segment that targeting. I just talk about Google's Android platform because it's the Google platform, but you can get ads on either.
Am I mistaken, but for things I've been reading lately, it appears that Google is taking the approach of moving or transitioning most organic type of search results completely into CPC.
No, that's not the case. If you look at any results page, there's both natural and paid. So CPC is cost per click. So CPC is paid advertising. And the question was, whether we're transitioning all listings that appear on Google search page to CPC, and that's definitely not the case. There's still the distinction between natural and paid. So CPC is the paid. They'll always be both.
In the results page, how is it being prioritized? But isn't all the organic stuff being pushed completely to the bottom or to the back?
So are you talking about Google search or potentially Google shopping? Because those are two different things. So Google search.
Well, Google Shopping, we know that's all CPC.
Right.
But just on a straight Google search, all the organic and natural stuff is really now being pushed to the bottom of the mass.
No, it hasn't changed in years. Fundamentally, we haven't changed the number of ads that we're able to show at the top of a page or the side of a page in 4 years, I think. It's been years since we added those ads to the top left, so nothing's been pushed down any further. There are new ad formats that extend the size of those ads, so sometimes there might be links below the main headline of an ad that makes that ad take up more space, but the number of free natural listings appearing on any given search page is the same as it's always been, and there's no plan to change that. We could never change that as Google because we're serving, like I said, first and foremost, our customer is the end user, the person doing the search, and that searcher wants an answer to their question, and the answer to that question is not always offered in an ad. So Google believes our algorithm and our technology actually gives them the best answer through natural search, and we allow advertisers to have a voice through paid search. So we always want to give them the best answer Google can provide, and that's through the natural, and that'll never go away.
You just led me to a question by an answer you just gave. Didn't you show that the higher percentage of getting a customer was through a paid ad as opposed to an organic search?
So there's a statistic that if you have just the natural listing, you increase your likelihood of that consumer purchasing from you by 26%. If you have just the paid listing, you increase the likelihood by 44%. And if you have both, you increase the likelihood by 73%. So yes, paid search does get results, and it drives e-commerce in a way that the natural listings might not, because of the way that it allows advertisers to communicate and choose the messaging that they put in front of somebody and pair that in a way that Google search naturally cannot.
What are you seeing as the trend in search queries? I'm typically a very long-tail searcher.
Mm-hmm.
I'll string together as many keywords as possible to try to zero in on exactly what I'm looking for. Am I the norm, or am I sort of unique?
You're the norm. I don't know what the average is for the number of words in a search, but like I said, the majority of searches that Google sees on any given day are brand new. Like Google's never seen them before, and you don't get that by inventing new words. You get that by inventing new strings of long-tail words.
Okay.
Right.
Now, is that a trend that has changed over the past 5 or 6 years? Because it used to be more short, and
Yeah.
people are now getting longer and longer.
I think it's changed, and it depends on verticals. As people get more savvy and more accustomed to how to search, if they're using a desktop device, they're more likely to search on a longer phrase, and because they know what types of content different words might pull in. But on mobile devices, queries are much shorter because you're not going to type long-tail keywords into a mobile device. So it's changed, but as mobile takes up a bigger and bigger share of what the search volume actually is, it might skew back the other way.
Right, it could revert back.
Yeah.
Can you explain how the AdWords program works?
Yeah, so fundamentally, you can you can create an account. You just log in, create a Google AdWords account, and it walks you through a process of choosing what your ad text would look like, so what words and what content's in the ads, choosing keywords that are related to your business, choosing the geographies you target, what your bid will actually be, so how much you're willing to pay when someone clicks on your ad, and you only pay when someone clicks on your ad, and a couple of other parameters, and it walks you through that whole process, and that gets you a fundamental campaign started, and your ads will start to appear on a search results page. Like I said, there's lots of more tools and features. It's really feature rich, and there's lots of different metrics you can use. So, you know, if you're serious about it, I encourage you to talk to an expert, talk to a third party.
Two questions on YouTube search.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
On like a YouTube search engine, is it similar to like metadata to show the website get picked up on Google searches, like the keywords versus the hits, reviews?
Yeah, so YouTube only, so the question is, you know, how can you naturally get your videos to show up on YouTube based on searches, basically, right? So he asked whether you use meta tags or use other types of tools to do that. YouTube only pulls in video content from YouTube itself, so you have to upload that content to YouTube, have a channel yourself, and as you walk through the process of uploading that content, you can choose, you know, what your content's actually about, enter details about the video, and Google uses the details that you enter when uploading your video to determine what keywords are relevant and related to that video. And then over time, as people search and see your video and click on it, Google uses the, you know, when someone clicks on something, that's a vote that content is relevant to the keyword search. So the more people click on your ad, your natural listing, or your YouTube result, the more likely it is to keep appearing on those types of terms. Yeah, so I don't know the limits for YouTube specifically on like the number of keywords and metadata, but if you create a YouTube video, it should walk you through that whole process. And any questions like that, like you know, best practices, how to, it's all available. There's this great tool called Google where you can search for answers to questions. So there's a Google AdWords Help Center. So if you just search for Google Help, you'll find a help center that should be really straightforward, walking you through the setup process. Same for YouTube, and you can literally search on the help center for answers to questions like that. Sure.
Organic search on Google that pulls up on YouTube videos, does YouTube have higher hits than like another media outlet like will the YouTube videos pull up higher just based on the fact that YouTube?
So the question is whether if you have video content on YouTube versus on other channels, if you do a search on Google, will the YouTube content have a natural, have a natural inclination to be ranked higher or show up more frequently than video hosted on other sites? The answer is probably yes. One, YouTube is the biggest video site on the planet, so when you have content that's relevant to a keyword search and a lot of people are accessing that content, again, because people have clicked on it before, it shows Google that that's very, very relevant. So YouTube is a very relevant video channel, so when you're searching for video content, that gives it a leg up. And because it's the place where people are engaging with video most frequently and there's the most views, your actual video is likely to have more views on that YouTube platform than elsewhere, and so then likely it would show up. But that doesn't mean that Google doesn't pull in video content from other sites, because it definitely does. Anybody else? Yep.
When you create a Google account, there's a ton of stuff in there, there's analytics and AdWords and yada, yada, yada. There's all kinds of, it's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
Is there, it's like, what do you do first? What do you need to do? What's most important to you?
Yeah, it depends on really where you are. I think we'll have some more speakers today talking about the importance of building a website and what your website should be all about. So I think, you know, making sure that you have the website and the web content is probably, you know, step one. But when you're ready to promote that content, it's really for, you know, talking to advertisers and new advertisers, analytics and AdWords are really the place to go, because AdWords allows you to target and to reach people, and analytics allows you to track what you're actually accomplishing with that.
You can register site, is there any advantage to, you do that? Should you do anything else to help drive the, you call it natural?
Yeah, so for the natural search, like I said, people at Google can't help you troubleshoot that. All I can do is point you towards the Webmaster Tools. So Webmaster Tools is another Google product that looks like you're familiar with. So that's the best place to get advice on that. You should make sure that Google is crawling. So Google crawls all websites to identify content. So you should make sure that your site has been submitted. And I think they ask for like a site map and some things like that. So as long as you have that stuff, Webmaster Tools is really your best option for troubleshooting there. Any more? Yep.
Not sure if this is your bailiwick, but when it comes to site design, do the Google bots still have a problem reading Flash?
Flash content is more difficult to read, as is video content, right? So that's why you need the tags and the identifying parameters around a video, because Google can't view the video yet and determine the content. The same is still true. Is still true for Flash.
Photos, should you always include alt text in your photos because bots can read the alt text?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that specifically, but for photos, you should tag them in whatever way Webmaster Tools recommends. Cool. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Lee. We appreciate that. We've actually hit our first stopping point of the program. So at this time, let's take a 15-minute break. We've got coffee and tea available in the back of the room. There's restrooms just outside. Stretch your legs, grab a cup of coffee, relax, and let's plan to meet back in here in about 15 minutes, and we'll get going with our next presentation. So we'll see you here shortly. Thank you.